Everybody say hi to Megan. She
Hi,
is
Megan.
a producer at the Shorty Awards.
Oh, hi, Megan.
Hi.
Now I know.
All right, so I'm going to switch to screen share mode.
Okay.
All right, eventually this will load. Producing my very first chat. Try not to mess this up. All right. For Pete's sakes. Really? Really? Click and screen share? It's not working. All right. Well, the long and the short of it is I just tweeted about the award that I won last year. And if you look at it, the picture that I just posted on Twitter. Hey, Adam.
Hey.
Hi, Adam.
How you doing?
Good.
Nothing like having a good URL to use.
Oh, good. Hi, Harper.
That just made me so happy. That's the only way to have a chat, right? With a baby in the background.
You may have stereo on that soon. All right, so I'm attempting to share this, but whatever. If you go on my Twitter feed, I just posted the point standings right before the close of last year's voting and the 2013 Shorty Awards. So you see Justin Bieber's mom on there, neck and neck with me. She wound up beating me, by the way. She came out ahead. And then you see Dada Rocks, Adam, in 7th place. So even though last year there were only 6 finalists, we wound up getting Adam in at the last minute. Like, he just...
It's the only way to have a chat.
He kind of snuck in into the last spot. Yeah, it's all right. Don't worry. We're used to this. And Kristen will... Hold on. Let's see. All right, where is my picture? All right. So, the number one question I have been getting asked is, how many votes does it take to win the Shorty Awards? And everybody's freaking out about the point standings. Like, I'm on social media moms groups, you know, New Jersey Digital Moms. Everybody's like, oh my God, I'm slipping in the standings. I was in 14th place. Now I'm in 18th. This is not good. So I don't want to say chill, but chill. Because, I mean, Kristen, you were incredibly helpful last year when I was in basically that exact same position. And, you know, the Shorty Awards are telling me push, and I'm like, you're high, right? Because I've got Justin Bieber's mom ahead of me. I've got Britney Spears' mom in the race. And then there's, like, celebrity parents whose kids' fans are going nuts saying, she's my mom. And I'm like, she is? And they're like, oh, you mean you want her to be your mother-in-law. I get it. But for a while there, I was like, wow, these ladies have a lot of kids. So, I mean, Kristen, you were a finalist in 2012.
Right.
So, how many Shorty Awards have you competed in?
Say that again, I'm sorry. What? I'm sorry, what? No, I heard, I couldn't hear the question, Kathy, I'm
Kristen?
sorry. Yeah.
Hey, so you were a finalist in 2012. So
yes.
No, okay, so basically I'm talking about how the point standings, how, you know, it's like you've got all these celebrity parents ahead of you and people who have like legions, thousands of voters going out there. So meanwhile, you and I are getting frustrated because our votes aren't being counted, right?
Right.
Like that's basically how you and I started chatting because we were like, what the H?
Yeah.
People vote.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly.
And like nothing shows
up.
Well,
it was not. It's not just that. Absolutely, it's because our collective votes I found I think were genuine. Whereas you've got, like you were just saying, the celebrity moms. They're it's not that their votes weren't genuine, but you know that they were fan based. So like, and the other thing that I was very frustrated by was the fact that I guarantee you most of them didn't even know that they'd been nominated. So here they are trumping all of us who are actually doing really good stuff out here, and then you've got these people winning that don't even know A, about the shorties, and B, that they've been nominated.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, that was very frustrating to me. But it's all fun. I love it. It's a great experience, and I've met some amazing people from it, and it's good street cred.
So talk to me about that, because it's like everywhere I go, I see your profile, and it just says like, like blog her. There's articles about you out there, and it's just kind of like, she was a top 5 finalist in the International Shorty Awards. So, like, how has this played out for you professionally?
Well, other than bragging rights, it really hasn't. I mean, it's not like somebody's contact. It's like my clout score is 70. It's not like I'm getting any great, lollies over that either. But, it's just one of those things, especially in my business, as it being in social media, it is very challenging because you have a lot of people that go running around going, I'm the best, I'm the best. And you're like, okay, it's fun. And it's what limited accolades any of us can get. If it gives us some extra voice or some extra volume behind our voices for what we're trying to do, that makes it even better. And that to me gives me an opportunity to stand up and above some of my competition as it comes to being a mom blogger, not just in my professional life, but in my mom blogging world too.
Okay, so Adam, talk to me about that a little bit, because you are, honestly, the two of you, Kristen and Adam, are, in addition to the whole Justin Bieber mom factor, but you were the reason why I went after the Shorty Awards last year. Because I'm looking at this list of contenders, right? Because you had like 300 people who were competing. And for all intents and purposes, I'm living in a bubble. Like, literally, I'm living in this little bubble called Hoboken. It's got 50,000 people. I really don't ever leave. I had a newborn last year, so yeah, I really wasn't going anywhere. And I see Adam, who's got a verified Twitter account, which is hardcore. And,
we love Dada Rocks.
Yeah.
Right. And I see Kristen, who is someone who is like attainable for me, right? Like what I use Twitter for is to network and to look for role models to like lurk. So I look at Kristen and I'm like, bam, done, right? That's who I want to be. And the more I learn about Kristen, it's like, all right, I can do this. I mean, she's got 3 kids. I've got 3 kids. She's making it work. But then, I've had some amazing discussions with Adam over the last year. And, Adam, basically what you're telling me is that the parenting blogging world is super saturated, right?
They are.
Well, I think that you have to create a unique niche for yourself these days if you really want to stand out. Or great content breeds viewership no matter what, because if you write great stuff, you're going to get the viewers. But there is a saturation. Like last count, there's 2.8 million mom blogs, and
Wow. Is that
close
just
to
in the U.S.?
300.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think that's like kind of U.S. based.
Probably,
and I think that
yeah.
statistic is like a year and a half old now. And I think that, one thing that you have to realize is that Twitter is a great connective kind of membrane, right? It connects me to Kristen, to you, and I think in the end, that's what I use Twitter for, is like, that way you don't sit there and have that pedestal. I had great conversations with some of the hottest TV anchors and talk show hosts because I was, able to connect with them on Twitter. And, having that back channel to individuals gives you a lot of access, but also gives you a lot of insight and help. And sometimes it's just about, in parenthood, it's about being there for someone and being able to support them and say, hey, I just need to understand this a little bit better, and can you help me understand sleep training and why my daughter is waking up 3 times a night? That I think every parent kind of understands. And I think, definitely, other tools outside of Twitter alone is like, my wife is in great Facebook groups, and I think that's what social media has allowed us to do, is really connect beyond just, that group of people that you go to have coffee with, or your high school friends that you've remained friendly with, or, that core group of college friends. For me, the Shorty Awards was just about, kind of another level of saying, look, I put a lot of time into Twitter, and I really want to make sure that that's shown.
The other thing I love about Twitter
She wanted
is
to come up and say hi.
Come on.
The other thing I love about Twitter is the fact that it completely eliminates any borders. It's just the fact that, I sent out a tweet last year after the Ashley Judd debacle where she kind of, told everybody to go, be done with all the negative press, and she tweeted back at me, which was like, oh, glory days. But what Adam says is very true. It's like, I'm past that baby stage. I kiss my nieces, I love them, and I'm now in that's my niche now specifically is my other site, which is 10 to 20 parenting, which is specific to those raising kids in that teen and tween age. So that's really where I have carved my niche in the parenting world, and it's a very underserved market that every time somebody comes up to me like, oh my God, I had no idea this existed, and da-da-da. So I feel like now I'm doing something of service. There's, like you said, there's 3 million other bloggers out there that are talking about diapers and binky and, sleepless nights, etc. My sleepless nights now are my kids are going out on dates,
Yeah, I got a long way before this one's going on dates.
Yeah.
And pretty rapidly we'll at that point have to get a shotgun license or something.
Yeah. Well, I'm blazing your trail right now, Adam. So when she's there, I'll have that teen and tween market, well founded for you.
Yeah, and Kristen's kids are actually on Twitter, which blows my mind.
Awesome. How old are they?
15. One of them is 15,
Okay.
12, and 10. My oldest is on Twitter. That started a huge conversation this weekend between me and Kathy on Twitter. It was pretty funny.
And, not only are they on Twitter, but they're mouthing off on Twitter. Like,
oh, yeah.
Oh, my parents, such a drag. And, this kind of like my head exploded when I saw that because I was like, wait, whoa, what?
Right,
like,
but I'm
really
the cool
now?
parent. Come on.
Really? So tell me how I make your life miserable, please.
Right, and then Kristen responds back to her daughter. It's like, excuse me, Your Royal Highness. What have we done?
It's uncharted territory, my friends.
So, I mean, this is really what I use Twitter for. It's kind of like I get to test out different lives, right? It's like I get to peek inside the life of somebody else. So, like, newscasters, celebrities, people who are just ahead of me in everything. And in some ways, it's like I start conversations with them. Like, I have a regular morning conversation with the News 12 New Jersey people, and they actually invited me to come into their studio.
Cool.
So I'm sitting there, it's like everybody thinks I could totally do this, right? Every job, you look at it, and I get this all the time. People say to me, look, I wrote something. And I'm like, yes, thank you. And what they're saying to me is that what you do is easy. And we all know that if somebody's truly expert, then they make it look easy. But when you try to do it yourself, you're like, wait, what goes where? And don't drop that. And, man. So, I wound up sitting during a live studio taping of the News 12 New Jersey broadcast. And can I just say, the Shorty Awards has been insane. I mean, for me, mostly because I won, but it's like I never, ever, ever expected this. Like, and I'm a planner. I like to think ahead. And what happened here? It was like hitting the lottery. I mean, I shouldn't have been in the finals. I shouldn't have won. But I'm sitting here and I've got a trophy on my shelf, and I'm like, okay, I'm still not sure what happened, frankly. But
so I have a question for Megan, real quick, if I can ask, speaking of shorties. In 2012, and you may or may not know this, did they ever actually award the category for mom and social media?
Hi, Sarah.
I don't think they did.
Yeah, I can. That's a former Shorty Award producer question. I know.
Nothing like being on the spot.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was one of those things that I kept going back, after the awards, and I kept looking, and and it was, and they never announced a winner, at least that I could ever see. So it was kind of like one of those, you're like, yeah, I'm a top 5 finalist, and I could say that I won.
Well, okay. Can I just tell you, I watched the entire 2012 award ceremony last night at 2 o'clock in the morning. I actually went on the live stream. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, I'm here.
Welcome. Great to see you. I see your lower third hasn't saved either.
Yeah, no, it won't save. It's doing all sorts of things. So, but I've been here the whole time. I don't know if you can see me or not. Sorry, but I've been here.
You just popped up, but don't worry. So anyway, long story short, I don't think that a category was awarded. And there is a disclaimer on the Shorty Awards website. This is what I was doing at 2 o'clock in the morning because I'm like an annual report. Literally, it's like I sit there and I memorize data, whatever. And there were, well, in 2013, I didn't analyze it for 2012, but I did analyze it for 2013. There were 7 sponsored categories that were handed out, and then there were 35 that were not. So that's a total of 42 total Shorty Awards. And you got to figure there's over 100 categories this year on the the traditional categories, and then there's like 3,000 in the community make your own vote. So just from like a logistics standpoint, I mean, I'm a judge this year. Frankly, I don't want to go through 3,000 categories. It's like I feel like you kind of make a decision as an entrepreneur, because really that's what the Shorty Awards are. It's like, it's an entrepreneurial organization. Are you going to do something that is kick-ass awesome, right? Like, are you going to make a decision to produce something that is amazing? Or do you put something out that is mediocre, right? And if you aren't, basically the choice that I make all the time is if I can't do something right and put something out there that is incredible and brings credit to my name, then I'm just not going to do it. And which was challenging this year because the month of December, I swear to God, I needed like a bubonic plague flag on my door. I mean,
I remember.
Yeah, it's like my kids, my 2 youngest, were throwing up nonstop. I kid you not. It's like they throw up. It goes on for 24 hours. Then it stops, and you're like, oh, good, back to daycare. And then they throw up again on the carpet under your chair as you're getting ready to leave. So you're like, okay, my day is done. So, I mean, I was supposed to deliver a website to a client in December, and it wound up in January because, frankly, I'm not releasing it unless I'm sure it's going to be incredible. And if that means it's going to be late, then it's going to be late, because this is why I do what I do. I work for myself so I can balance everything. And that means that things are going to slip. And in general, it's funny. When you work in the corporate world, it's like everything is like very cut and dried, hard and fast. You have to prepare these deliverables by this time, put this team together. I mean, like, Sarah, you manage teams. I mean, it's like how did you kind of lasso everybody to get them to deliver on time?
I think the key to getting everybody to do what they need to do is giving them the power to do it. I know that sounds silly, but when people feel that they truly own something, it's completely theirs, they do the wrangling, right? They're going to make sure it gets done. And I think it's also all about relationships. And I know we talked to Holly at Collective Bias about that as well, right? It's all about relationships. And if the people you're working with trust you and love you and believe in what you're doing, and you say, that's awesome, I'm so glad you're part of the team, I need you to make this happen, they will. And I think for a lot of people, having that kind of trust and faith in other people is very difficult. But I think it's the only way to get it to really work, because we can't do it by ourselves. And I think the people that try to keep all the control and really force things to happen, it never will. It just won't. But if you inspire people to be with you and you inspire people to do what needs to get done, everything down from making sure name tags are on the table to tweeting on time, to managing all the social media, to making phone calls, to getting the press, whatever it is you need done. If people are inspired by the larger vision and they're inspired about what's going on, they'll do anything that needs to get done. It's just the way it works. But strong-arming or forcing never does. You might get results, but people hate you, and so that only lasts for so long.
And the other thing about it too is that people tend to think of the work-life balance as being exclusive to parents, but you've got an aging population now, right? Like the boomers are pretty much they're all getting Social Security now. So you have this huge aging population, and I feel like what's going to happen is, as soon as I get done taking care of my kids, I'm going to be taking care of my parents.
Yes.
Right?
That's correct.
So it's, and this is not just a woman issue, it's a man issue.
It's a people issue.
Right, and
but it's our generation issue, because the other factor to that is the economic change of America, right? So now you're starting to see multiple family dwellings again, and that's not based on a cultural society fact. That's based on the fact that your parents' Social Security aren't going to be able to afford the cost of living anymore at their lifestyle that they want to have. So they'd rather kind of have everyone together in a 6-family home, and for you to have less of a cost of living, but be able to spend more in that lifestyle.
So this is really, we're talking about time versus money, and having the freedom to make the choices that you want to make to live life the way you want. And for me, that was networking and getting kind of like that good housekeeping seal of approval. Only in this case, it's the Shorty Awards seal of approval. That's why, look, my team, we were looking for an award for it a year before I applied for the Shorties. And nothing was quite right, because it's like, I'm not really a traditional mom blogger. We're not quite that full-fledged as entrepreneurs. It's like we're all over the place. But then this award comes up, my team brings it to me, and I was like, yes, perfect. And what I really, 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 really liked about it, the judging. So, Real-Time Academy. Okay, now, full disclosure, I am a judge. So far, I have done 0 this year, so I don't know what being a judge actually means. I'll get back to you next year. But, all you have to do is get into the final. And in my case, and actually all 3 of us were in the same category, although you can get nominated for numerous categories. I looked at your profiles last night, and Kristen, you're up for 3.
I am.
So, yeah, you've got it's basically anybody hashtags with Shorty Awards, and bam, you got to vote.
Well,
so
in my situation, I'm not under. What I end up having is my Kristen Doka's Twitter handle tends to get as many votes as my Fort Hens Twitter handle, and I try to keep my worky work and my hobby work separate, if that makes sense. So there is some dilution there. I dilute myself a little bit there. So, but
yeah, I feel like I'm bipolar a lot actually these days. Because it's like, which account am I tweeting under? And, oh my God, don't tweet under the wrong account. It would be really, really bad if I tweeted out a diaper picture on a client Twitter handle.
Yeah.
Don't do it. So it's like, and there's that second after I tweet where I'm like, oh my God, okay. Okay, good. We're all good. But, basically, you have to get into the ballpark. So if you look at if you go on my Twitter feed, at Kathy Zucker, oh shoot, I guess I should have that on my my lower third. I used to have it on there, and now it's not. Hold on, let me put that on there, because Sarah was incredibly helpful with helping me configure my lower third that then did not save. So, okay, now there it is. All right, so if you go on at Kathy Zucker, I published the point standings that were the day before voting closed last year. And Adam, you're in 7th place, so you are 1 spot out of the final. And I'm in 12th place. And I have 91 votes, and you have 151. So somehow, even with that kind of point standing, and it went up a little bit. I think you went up to 200, and I went up to 100. So, but basically, even with those vote tallies, we both wound up in the finals, and I wound up winning. And you had Carlos Pena Sr. in there, you had Lorraine Claire, you had people who had thousands of votes. So this is where the Real-Time Academy, the judging, comes in, because all you have to do is kind of get in the ballpark of that final, because a lot of the votes are going to be... this is where you were incredibly helpful last year, Kristen, because you were, talk to me, basically tell me, you told me last year that pretty much a lot of people just get knocked out, right? They just kind of disappear after the voting ends.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the big push is always to get into, for that first deadline. And then once you hit that first deadline, then it ends up going, then it's the second round. So, and a lot of people just, I mean, it takes a lot of work, especially the first round when you're, stumping for votes. So, I mean, it's exhausting, and you can only vote once. So, like, you can go through your entire Twitter audience and say, vote for me, vote for me, vote for me. And if they're not completely nauseated from the fact that you're begging for votes, then you've got to go and do it the second time. So once to keep you up there, and that piece of it that's exhausting. And quite honestly, that's probably I haven't even looked lately to see where I am right now, because I kind of did that first round, and I've got to go back and start stumping again. But and then people, it takes a lot of work. So I think people just give up, or they just, they do it and then they kind of forget about it and they taper off. And so if you can keep it up, if you can keep your momentum going, and I always throw a disclaimer out there. Hey, listen, this is going to be obnoxious for the next 4 weeks, and I'm sorry, but guess what? It's going to happen. But for me here regionally, there's another big award that's coming in February. So like the first quarter of the year, I'm like, my friends are like, dude, stop asking me, stop begging. So I have to be, but this is the one that I think I push for the hardest.
Okay, and
share it with us. You should share it with us too.
Wait, what?
Let us know which award is it, and can we help? You should let us know.
Well, that's another thing. Okay, so that's something actually that Adam and I did last year. So you kind of tap out very fast with your own fan base, right? Mm-hmm. Because, number one, people get sick of hearing you beg. And number two, not everybody can vote. So, right. I mean, I wound up having all these people who have, like, 0 tweets.
Yeah.
Tweeting for me. And they're like, I voted for you. And I'm like, it didn't count. Can you try it again? And then I realized...
And I noticed, too, that even some that have more than that have, they're not established like all of us, but at the same time, they're not, your average Twitter user does not have huge numbers. So that was like, for instance, my mom, okay? But, my mom doesn't do a ton on Twitter, but she does enough. She's got several hundred tweets. Her vote didn't count for me last year. So, and I think sometimes there's a glitch in the system. I don't know what it is. I don't know if there's it's technology. So, it's not unheard of for there to be a little bit of a glitch in the system, because I think there are certain ones that definitely should have counted for me last year that didn't count. So, but I'm not going to go back to the people and go, hey, guess what? It didn't count. Can you do it again? Because it was so hard to get them there the first time.
If anyone ever thinks that a vote doesn't count, you guys are welcome to reach out to us as well, and we can do some digging. Okay. There are criteria for what makes a nomination count, just so we have to do this in order to prevent, spamming to the system, so someone can't, rig the system and get themselves in the final for the Shorty Awards. So there is criteria, which we can't divulge, because that would then give people the opportunity to win. But if you think that someone, if they submitted a tweet nomination, you think it should count, just shoot us an email, info@Shorty Awards, and we'll look into it.
And Megan, just as a disclaimer, there were a couple of times that I did do that, and I don't know what you guys were very. That's one thing about you guys, is you're extremely helpful.
Yes.
I've always been very impressed with if I had an issue or if there was a glitch in the system, and I did tweet out to you guys or send you a DM, that you guys have always been very, very helpful. So I support that statement.
Sometimes
100%.
There is an issue, and a nomination should have counted. So that's definitely something we want to make sure we're monitoring.
I just want to second that. Megan's been unbelievably helpful. There have been a couple people where I was like, I think this one should count. I don't know, and they were mistakes. But I don't tell people when their vote doesn't count either, because I feel like they went to all that trouble. I just say thank you. It's like, thank you so much for doing all of that. That's what matters.
Yeah, the only ones that I'll do that to are actually other contestants. Like I have a good friend here locally who is up for a food award, a food shorty, and she accidentally did my nomination to my Kristen Doka's Twitter. I was like, I said, Rebecca, can you redo it? And she had no problem with it because she understands.
Right.
Okay, so I have 2 points on the voting, and one relates to Adam, and one relates to timing. So, people respond to last minute, like, hey, the voting's closing in 24 hours or 48 hours, like deadlines. If you just say, please vote, please vote, please vote, they tune it out. But if you say the deadline's coming up, then all of a sudden they're like, whoa, what? We want to help you. And basically, it's completely counterintuitive, but this is what I do because I'm insane. I bond with other people in a situation. When I go into any setting, I am not looking to, I mean, this is going to sound bizarre. I was not looking to win the Shorty Awards. I mean, it's awesome that I did, and I will take it. But I went into this to meet people like Kristen and Adam because I wanted to figure out how to take my business, my career to the next level. And I looked at them and all the stuff they were doing, and I was like, that's where I want to be. So this is kind of like, it's like a vetting process. Pretty much anybody who is in this category who was, you know, you got to figure like the top 20. It's actually more like top 30 because Kristen, for a while, you and I, they were like 26. So, you know, who do I want to emulate? Who do I want to bond with? Like, it's all about bonding experiences. Right now, experience trumps everything else. And if you can have an experience where, you know, the two of you face adversity together and you help each other figure it out, then you're going to come out of that with a stronger bond than you would have if you were like, hey, it's a networking event. Let's shake hands and like move on, like speed dating, you know? And that's basically what wound up happening. I wound up bonding with both Kristen and Adam. So at the 11th hour, right? People are coming out, they're voting for me. I'm trying to figure out whose vote's counting, whose isn't. I was trying to beat Justin Bieber's mom, right? Because a lot of, you know, it's like I was gaining 1.25 votes for every one she gained. So I was like, okay, T-minus 6 hours left. If I push and I might these people, you know, and I had like a whole Excel spreadsheet of people whose vote might count. And I was like, all right, if I push super hard at the current rate, I might beat her by 2 votes. Oh, okay. That seems pointless. But on the other hand, this Dada Rocks guy, he's in 7th place. And he's down by about 20 votes. And, you know, let's just try an experiment. Let's go and ask all of the people who have voted for me to vote for him. And basically what I found out... And
it worked. You rallied the troops there.
That's awesome.
You know, it was one of the things I was like, woohoo! Mission accomplished! She's in! Yeah! You know, and then I was it. I was like, my Shorty Awards are done. I am good. You know? Like, that was all I was looking to accomplish. And then, you know, the voting ended, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I was getting ready. Like, Sister and I were cheering. We're like, come on, Dada Rocks! Let's go! Bring up the trophy! And then all of a sudden I was in the final. And I was like, I don't know what just happened.
Yeah, I definitely decided that if it couldn't be me, I was glad it was one of you guys.
Well, I think that's how I feel. I have my good friend Elizabeth is up in the exact same category, and I think we feel the same way. She almost didn't even put herself in the running. She's like, I don't want us to compete. I was like, it's not competing. It's all about winning. We're in the like keep good going category. It's about if any of us wins, we all win. It's really okay. And I'm happy to say she's ahead of me now, which is kind of cool. So I think that's what makes this so good.
See, fun. I set short, attainable goals. Like right now, it's like, okay, I want to get on the front page again. I was on the front page for a few days, and then from there, I want to go. Okay, at the end, I just want to be a finalist. You know, if I win, hey, that's gravy. But I just want to be short, attainable goals.
Yes.
And honestly, being a finalist was it. I mean, because I wound up taking part. Like Adam, you went on Huffington Post. That was insane. That was the first video that I saw after the finalists were announced. It's like, hey, there's Adam Cohen on Huffington Post. And that got a lot of traffic. So, did that drive traffic to your site?
That was definitely good. There's definitely that small bump in viewership to the blog, and also kind of Twitter follower, a little spike afterwards. But I think it's more about what you do with this afterwards. You know, the awards is just a platform. Mm-hmm. And so, like, win, lose, draw, it doesn't matter. You know, but you have to look at, like, kind of what you've done, Kathy. Like, you have these amazing circle of friends that you now are friendly with. You've been able to escalate your business to and you've been able to escalate your business to a new level. So I think when you talk about who's the winner, it doesn't matter if you got a trophy or not. It's because you made this a winning event. And I think it's all about how you look at that aspect of life. Like, I didn't win, but I was so happy you won.
Right.
You did amazing things during Hurricane Sandy.
Thank you.
You communicated, you rallied the troops, you probably saved a lot of people from a lot of grief, and I think that was important to recognize. I think in the end, it's just, it's about the community that we build here. So I'm so happy to sit here and say that at the end of this, I'll tweet everyone and say hi and really have that newfound friendship that we didn't have, 3 days ago. And I think that's important to recognize. That's what the shorties really do. It builds communities.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
That's what I love about it.
The other thing about it too is that it's almost like we're creating like a preferred class of voters, because if somebody's vote registers for the Shorty Awards, they could theoretically vote for every single candidate in every single category.
Mm-hmm.
So you could hypothetically do something similar to what Adam and I did last year, where you could take your group of voters and say, hey, go vote for, Sarah Walton and Kristen, and you know what I mean, and say, it's like you could also. Oh, the other thing.
Don't forget about me. I'm still running here. I'm not
Right.
I'm not dead yet.
I looked at your profile last night and it was not active, so I was like, okay, we're gonna wait to say anything until he actually starts pushing. But what was I gonna say? Oh, Thursdays and Fridays. So that was the other big thing. There is an 18% increase in engagement on Facebook because it's the end of the week. People don't want to be there, so they go on Facebook. The same thing applies to the Shorty Awards. I had the bulk of my votes come in on a Friday evening. So between 6 p.m. and 11 p.m. on Fridays is my sweet spot. That's when I would say probably close to 50 to 75% of my friends are plugged in, they're paying attention. So choose your time wisely. And you can reach out to individual friends too. I basically use a combination of tweets, like tweeting at people, but then people aren't always paying attention when you see the ads, and then Facebook private message. Like, hey, do you mind shooting in a nomination for me? And here's how it goes. Here's I nominate at Kathy Zucker. You just basically copy and paste, and then they have to put in their own reason at the end. But, it's like you kind of have to catch people at that moment when they have a little bit of downtime. And it's really hard to find that moment because I just feel like our lives are 100% hectic. But then a moment passes, like the snow day yesterday, right? Everybody's home. They're indoors. They're bored off their skulls. and they're plugged in. So that would have been a perfect moment, a window of opportunity to go after people and say, hey, I've got this award. And the other thing about it too that helped a lot, okay, look at what happened with me and Kristen with this hangout, right? I post the hangout link. I invite everybody in creation to it. Kristen responds, RSVPs, yes. Some people do yes, maybes. But Kristen really got engaged with this hangout when I wrote a blog post, right? Because then I'm saying, pay it forward. Kristen was incredibly helpful to me. Here is the video that's embedded on my blog post, and you can also engage directly. So you can watch here, or you can get directly involved. And all of a sudden, it becomes personal. And that's the exact same thing that happened to me last year with the Shorty Awards. I wrote a blog post saying, this is what I'm doing. Here's the information, the data that you need, and here's how you can vote. Just kind of I would make it no more than 200 words.
Yeah. I got it.
And then you give people that link to that blog post, and they can just look at it and say, oh, okay. Because otherwise, if you're just giving them the link and how to vote, they're like, eh.
Guys,
and another thing.
Yeah, guys, I have to bail. I'm sorry.
Right.
I've got another appointment at 10. I'm sorry. I hate to do it, but I'll talk to all of you offline or online, which I'll hang out. We'll hang out offline, online.
All right. Well,
thanks, Kathy, for putting it together.
Okay,
have a great day, Kristen.
Thanks,
Bye.
Okay.
I'm going to have to leave in 15, too. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay, well, I think we pretty much covered, everything we needed to cover. But, so my question is, Sarah, do you have any questions for me and Adam?
I don't think so. I mean, I watched your little speech, your acceptance speech from last year, and I thought it was so great that you stopped and hugged him. I loved that because it does show, especially for this category, I think what is so cool about it, because I know I'm one of those people, but I really do believe that the bigger we all get, the bigger we all get. And it was very cool, especially inside a parenting category, to watch you guys do that. And now I have even more of a backstory of how you helped him get more votes. And I love that because, that's why I created Better Way Moms, and we all find our own better way. But when we do it together, it's just awesome. And I think, as I was telling Elizabeth, right, when she's like, oh, I want everyone to vote for you, I don't want to split the vote, I was like, stop it, just put your name up there, is that, we really do celebrate each other's successes. And I loved what you did with that. And I thought that was very cool that you stopped in the middle of a moment when I think, people tend to get shocked and shaky and like, oh my gosh, what just happened? You were present enough to say, whoa, there is someone else who belongs up here with me, kind of. Do you know what I mean? And you stopped
Basically,
with
yeah.
that. I thought that was very cool. Yeah, and I'm a big fan of Adam's. I know we've tweeted back and forth a couple times, but I think this is our first face-to-face encounter. I just like the camaraderie that the whole thing creates. And I think what you guys have said about the Shorty Awards so far is right. I'm a huge fan of Twitter. And as I said in my Shorty interview, I think most people misunderstand it. And I like that it's not as vanity-based as Facebook, but it's more information-based, and it's more friendship-based, and it's more relationship-based. And I think it has really leveled the playing field in all forms of media, right? Because like Adam said, you really can reach anyone when you want to. But the other thing I find incredibly powerful about it is that at any moment you get a capture of a global conversation, what's happening at kitchen tables around the world. For Kathy, it's much more Hoboken. For Dada Rocks, it's much more about parenting. And for me, it's women and mothers. But I'm also very political, and I have other accounts I use that for. And it just astonishes me how you can hear personal conversations going on between people around the world in a snapshot of a moment based on what's happening. And I think I just think it's phenomenal, and I don't think most people understand that about it. So I think the Shorty Awards just carries that forward. So that was a very long answer to your short question. Sorry about that.
No, that was great. That was a great answer. I mean, look, I think that people start out, I mean, it's New Year's, right? It's January, it's New Year's resolutions. Everybody, they have big plans. They want to change the world. They're going to start a blog that, is read by hundreds of thousands of people. And the reality of it is that for most of us, change is small. I mean, you're not going to go to the gym and lose 20 pounds in 1 week. And if you are, you've got...
I've tried. Doesn't work.
Yeah, you probably have something else going on. That kind of, it's just, it's so hard to keep slogging away day after day after day to get these tiny incremental gains.
Yeah.
But then, all of a sudden at the end, it just winds up, it's so you get, it's like you go 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, and then all of a sudden, one day you just go a mile, and you're like, whoa, what? And what's infuriating about it is it's totally not within your control.
Right.
I mean, you're still doing the same thing you've been doing all along, but just all of a sudden, you just went really far, and you can't recreate it. That's, I think, the thing that is hardest. I mean, you can create the conditions, and you can place yourself open to opportunity, but you can't guarantee. It's like lightning, right?
You can't guarantee it'll strike.
Right. You can put a lightning rod in your house. You can be out in an open field. You can have a big pond around you, and chances are, if you do it long enough, then lightning will hit. But you can't say with any certainty that it's going to hit until it hits. And then, so I guess I look at this and pretty much all things in life as like a learning experience. What did I do right and wrong that I can take away from this and apply to other situations in life? And and the biggest lesson that I've had from winning is don't get big in the head, because it's really, 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 really easy to believe the hype and say, I am awesome, right? I am just the greatest thing since sliced bread. I am, whatever. And
if you wake up every day and say, I am awesome, you will have a much better day.
That is true.
True.
You know what, though, Kathy, you're reminding me, you guys, I don't know if you guys know, I'm a huge Sherlock fan, right? And Benedict Cumberbatch is like blown up and he's everywhere and no one, you can't go anywhere without seeing him. And I read an interview with him where he said, you know, I'm not really focused on that. I'm focused on the work. It's not like I wake up every morning and go, hey, you're looking good, you know, but instead you focus on the work and you continue to do that. And I really liked that he said that because I think, you know, but to your point, it is really easy when people are telling you you're great all the time to go, I am, aren't I? I'm not going to work today. You know what I mean? it's like, you know, you
It's like, my job here is done.
Yeah, get your head down, do the work, keep going, keep moving forward.
Yeah, and in fact, I mean, it's kind of like going back to that life lesson thing. Like, I'm a fencer, all right? So I would have an incredible, amazing result. Like, I would win a tournament, and then I go into the next tournament, and I kind of like sit there, and I'm like, all right, this is just going to happen by itself, right? Like, I'm just going to win again. And what you don't realize is that you still have to work just as hard to get there. You have to be extra relaxed. You have to get lucky, right? Because if you draw the number one seed who happened to mess up in the pools, you're like, ah, man, really? Like, and it happens all the time in fencing. You're like, that guy should not be fencing me right now. What the heck? But, you know, that's the hand you got dealt. You gotta play it. But, you know, you hope for like a relatively easy route. You hope for the conditions. Like, basically, I got lucky. That was the year of Hurricane Sandy. You know, there was another award for like best picture of the year that was like a guy standing in the surf for Sandy, and I was like, right. I'm the Sandy lady. Got it. You know, so the way I look at it is that this is just another rung on the ladder. Like, it's opened up many, many, many doors to me. But, you know, as Adam's saying, what I do with those doors is up to me. And, you know, ultimately, this is about the people. I mean, the fact that all of you are here, that, you know, you are basically, with the exception of Sarah Mock, who I knew before this, you are all people who I've met through the Shorty Awards. And I can be sitting here in my pajamas at home, you know, while the baby's napping, you know, talking to people anywhere.
Amazing.
So, okay, so February 18th is the last day of voting.
Okay.
That is a Tuesday. So that's kind of tough because that whole Thursday, Friday thing, I'll get back to you with thoughts on that. But definitely the Thursday and Friday before. You know, I know, and I was like, man, because I think last year the voting ended on a Saturday. So it was a natural fit to push Friday night and say, hey guys, voting ending tomorrow, come on. And now it's like
But they also
Tuesday.
Extended it last year too.
There's always a way to figure out everything.
But they also extended it, so they always do that little extra push.
Aha, you see, I was not paying attention, so that's very useful. And the Shorty Awards themselves are on April 7th in Times Square in Manhattan. They're at the New York Times Center. So the tickets are still available. I actually bought tickets for my entire company team last year, and they're like $90. As far as I can tell, it's not that big a deal to like be in the party room versus the theater, because in the theater, it's like you can't move around. Whereas in the party room, you're talking, you're networking. You know, there were some pretty cool people to see. My husband is like, do I get to go again this year? And I was like, I'm pretty sure yes, because I'm judging, and I mean, I'll ask, but I usually get to bring the date, I think. So, you know, I mean, he got to see Tara Strong. You know, he got to see the guy like Chris Hardwick from The Talking Dead. So he was just like, oh my God, this is so cool. He's getting autographs, taking pictures. So, you know, it was a lot of fun. And also there's an after party, which I didn't go to last year because I'm lame, but I'm going this year. So, you know.
I'm so jealous. Sounds wonderful.
You're going to be in Italy, right?
I am going to be in Italy. It's so funny. The women that I'm taking with me on this trip they freaked out. They were so excited that I've been nominated, but then they realized when the party was, they were like, wait, what? Wait, but you're still coming to Italy? I said, of course I am. I said, part of keeping, keep the good going is you keep your word. I was like, I will be in Italy with you guys. This is social media. We will figure it out, right? And my husband's like, does that mean I get to go in your place since you're going to be in Italy? And I said, probably. We'll work it out.
Yeah, actually.
But he was like so excited. So, yeah, but the girls were, I shouldn't call them girls, they're women. We're all so excited.
Ladies.
And it's going to be fun to be in Italy and find out who won.
Well, good luck to Sarah, you and Adam. I mean, I'll be watching and cheering, not voting this year.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, that's actually going to be hard. Like not
Yeah,
getting
no
personally
voting
involved.
for.
Yes, it's ideal.
Well, here
I'd love
This
to sigh.
goes starting campaigning today, right?
That's right. Here we go. Party over here.
All right. Well, I'll be watching and cheering silently. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for
guys.
coming out.
All right. Have a great one.
You too.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.